Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So today we'll be moving right along in our journey through geological time to the next time period of the Paleozoic, the Devonian. So today we're going to be adding in some Devonian animals into this tank here that I have prepared behind the lab. So I've already got the tank walls in, and I'm just waiting on Puck to finish the pathway that goes through here. So while he takes care of that, let's add in the fence that we are going to need, because we actually have animals that are able to move onto land and get in a little bit of terraforming around here as well. So while we build up this area, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the Devonian. So the Devonian period is a span of geological time lasting about 60 million years that is also referred to as the Age of Fishes, quite possibly due to the fact that several different lineages of fish evolved during this time period. These lineages include some of the earliest sharks, as well as the lobe-finned fishes, a group that includes the modern-day lungfishes and coelacanth, which would eventually give rise to the first amphibians by the end of the period. During this time, we also see the evolution of plants on land, with ferns becoming more common and the first trees appearing. Arthropods, which include insects, spiders, and scorpions, grew in abundance alongside the explosive evolution of land plants, and we see the first fossilized bodies of millipedes and their relatives. By the end of the period, arthropods were well established on land. Back in the seas, we see the first ammonites, a group of cephalopods that looks similar to the modern nautilus, but was more closely related to octopuses and squid. Ammonites are often used as an index fossil to link a particular rock layer to a place in geological time due to how common they were and the variations in shells between different species. The Devonian ended with the second of the 5 mass extinctions in geological history. It primarily affected warm water organisms, and no one is quite sure what caused it. The extinction event wiped out all of the placoderms, which we will talk about later, and reef-building organisms were particularly affected. Alright, so I just made this little grassy area here for our amphibious fish, or semi-amphibious fish. So the last thing we have to do for this area is to put in the walls that will contain them. So what I think we're going to do for that is we'll put our first basalt pillar right next to the wall here, and then we will have 3 stone bricks and another basalt pillar. And I think we'll follow this pattern all the way around to fence in this area. So I'm going to lay the basic pattern out just to mark out the area that we're going to be using, and then I will be right back. So now that we have the basic pattern in, I think I'm going to make these stone brick parts 2 blocks tall, and then we will extend the basalt pillars to be 3 blocks above that height. Then what we will do is we will have horizontal chains span between them on the first and third blocks. Might do some on the second as well. I think those look like fences, or at least somewhat look like electric fences anyway. And then on top of the pillars, we will add a beacon, which I do not have on me currently for safety's sake. I really don't want to lose any of these, even though I now have a farm to get more. So I'm going to get the rest of these chains in and go grab my beacons and install them, and then I will be right back. Alright, so I've got just about all of the beacons in, except for 2 that we are missing. I'm going to go check my chests and stuff to see if I stored some somewhere else. Nope, not that one, or that one. Oh, hey, we have a few more skulls. Perfect. I'm gonna go convert these and then I'll be right back. Alright, that is better. So now that we have the completed fence, we can start to add in our animals for this area. Alright, so we have our first Devonian fish in. But before we talk about that, let's go and seal off the end of our tunnel. So the first Devonian fish we will be adding is Tiktaalik, early genus of sharks. It is one of the best known early sharks due to how well preserved its fossils are, which contain traces of skin, muscles, and internal organs, which do not usually fossilize. And sharks in particular we usually only know from fossilized teeth, since they lack hard bones. So while most fish have hard calcified bones, sharks do not, and instead their bones are made of cartilage, which is soft and flexible. Because of that, it doesn't usually fossilize well. Tiktaalik is similar in form to modern-day mackerel sharks, which is a group that includes the famous great white shark, amongst others. It had a weak jaw in comparison to modern sharks though, and its teeth are more suitable for grasping prey than tearing it, so it likely swallowed its food whole. So the next fish that we have added is Dunkleosteus, one of the top predators of the Devonian, who is a type of prehistoric fish known as a placoderm, which are distinguished by the presence of armored plates that cover their heads. Placoderms are also one of the first groups of fish to develop pelvic fins, which are the precursors to hind limbs in land-dwelling animals that would evolve later. Dunkleosteus is one of the largest placoderms to have lived, growing up to 28.8 feet, or 8.78 meters, and weigh up to 4 tons. Instead of teeth, it possessed a beak of sharp bony plates that were capable of opening at high speeds, which would have allowed it to suck in its prey. These plates would have allowed it to pierce the armor of ammonites and other placoderms. Another type of placoderm from the Devonian is Asterosteus, which belongs to a group of placoderms that had unfused scales instead of the fused plates like other placoderms, such as Dunkleosteus. Because of this, there are not many fossils of them, and consequently not much is known about them, as this type of armor tended to break up and scatter after the animal died. The lack of fused plates suggests that it might be one of the most ancient lineages of placoderms. They were bottom-dwelling marine predators and had a raid-like flattened body. Now our final fish from the Devonian is a very important species and is one of the most famous finds, Tiktaalik roseae. It was found in 2004 in the Canadian Arctic. This lobe-finned fish was hailed as the missing link showing the evolutionary transition between fish and terrestrial vertebrates, which includes amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Its fins have very basic wrist bones that may have allowed it to prop itself up out of the water, and another of its features is the presence of small openings behind its eyes called spiracles on top of its head, which suggests the presence of a primitive lung in addition to its gills. This would have been useful in shallow water, and in combination with a more robust rib cage, would have helped it support itself when it left the water. It is also the earliest known fish to have a neck, as it lacked the bony plates that most fish have that restricts neck movement. Alright, so the last little bit that we have to do for our Devonian exhibit here is to put in some plants. So during the Devonian, we start to see the first plants with roots appear on land. At the beginning of the period, most of the plants that we would see lacked both true roots and leaves, and many of them would have likely used spores to spread, which requires water. However, by the mid-Devonian, we start to see the mosses get replaced by shrub-like forests, which contain plants such as horsetails, which can still be found in marshy areas today, and ferns. During this time, we also see the earliest known trees, and by the end of the time period, the first seed-bearing plants appeared. The development of seeds is very important because it is what allowed plants to spread out across the continents, since with a seed, you are no longer dependent upon water to spread your offspring, and it is what allowed for the growth of the forests during this time. So for our exhibit here, we're just going to have a few trees of various heights, and we will also use some bamboo for our horsetails, as well as some sugarcane by the water. We're going to grow those up to a height of 3 and put some string on top. And then we'll also scatter some of these ferns about as well, bone meal them a little bit, just to provide some ground cover. But I think that with that, once we clean up our project boxes over here, I think that that will be it for this exhibit. So thank you all so much for watching. I know this has been a little bit of a shorter episode, but that is going to be it for today. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye!